Today I'm down in the basement. I try not to spend a lot of time down here, but I'm down here today just to kind of talk about something real specific. Something that you might not be aware of if you never go under your house, but anybody who has ever gone under their house is fully aware of, is the problem of moisture in your crawl space. Especially in the South, in the old days, the houses, there was no underpinning. The houses were open underneath. And they were even constructed so air would flow up through the house, and they didn't ever have a problem. But then people started building fancier houses where they closed in the crawl space. And when they closed in the foundation, they then had to put foundation vents. Well, they'd put a vent every X number of feet, and now there's building code that would tell you how many, every 12 feet of foundation, whatever it is. I don't even know what the code is. But in the South, those foundation vents don't do a lot of good because there's not enough of them to really move the air. The other thing is the outside humidity is probably 80 or 90%. You don't want that under your house either. That leaves only one logical solution to crawl space moisture, and that's encapsulating your crawl space. And I'm certainly going to do that, but I have about 26 things that I have to do first. So it's just real hard to get to that first thing of encapsulating. But I do fight moisture here because one of the things that happens with an older house is that the grade away from the house that may have existed when the house was built is gone. Because especially in the case of Little Mount Vernon, where it grew up for 20 years, all that leaf litter's built up around the house, turned into dirt basically, and the ground has come up around the house to where it's not graded away from the house. I've tried to grade it, and I've done some to try to get the water away, but the moisture still finds a way to get under this house. And especially because if you look outside, if you've noticed where the valleys of the one-story roof come off right at those two hall doors on the south front, that just drops water right in a corner, and water is amazing in how it can find its way where you don't want it to be. So I say all that to say that, number one, you need to encapsulate your crawl space. And the other thing is, when you encapsulate it, you're going to be conditioning it and making sure you remove the moisture with a dehumidifier. So I have this, so I decided to go ahead and hook it back up just to try to make, in an effort to get this moisture down until I get the French drains put outside and get all the encapsulation finished and can really control this moisture better. But in the meantime, I'm going to run that. And I actually have these long hoses that I kind of pushed off both directions a little bit down the halls to try to pull some air from the ends of the house through this dehumidifier to circulate the air instead of it just running right here in one spot and only decreasing the moisture in the basement. I'm kind of pulling air from the two wings to try to do a better job across the entire crawl space. And the other thing I wanted to show you is, let's see if we can see this. I don't know if you can see that. That says 81% humidity. You want 50, you don't want 81. And you don't want 30, you don't want it too dry under your house. But I think the guideline is for it to stay around 50% humidity, and that's pretty good shape for a crawl space. And then the other thing I wanted to show you was, this is going to be cool. This shows you how much moisture we have down in here. I don't know if you can see. There's a frog. There's a frog. The frogs come down here and lay their eggs and have babies. Anyway, I don't know if you can see that hose. It's been running about 20 minutes now, and it's dripping, drip, 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 drip. That's a pretty substantial bit of water that's coming out of this dehumidifier. And so, what I did was I hooked a hose to it, and that hose runs all the way over to where the sump pump is, so that any moisture that it collects, I don't have to have a little bucket that I have to worry about. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you about that dehumidifier running now, and I'll come back over the weekend, later in the weekend, and see how much the moisture has gone down. Now, I'm going to get out of the basement.